JD, what's up, brother? How you folks doing? I am Sean in Alaska. It is awesome to hang out with you on this Sunday afternoon. It's sunny, but it's chilly out today. Right now, it's still about 23 degrees. We had like 6 below 0 again this morning. We're into second winter, and hopefully, it will be followed by second spring really quickly. Anyway, before I get going too much here, let me know if the audio and the video is okay, and then we'll dig into this week's conversation. I put down here on the bottom, we're gaining 5 minutes and 32 seconds of sunlight per day right now. And when I looked forward, I think like 6 minutes and 11 seconds per day, every day is like the most that we gain. And then, so right now we're looking at what sunrise was at 8:15, sunset will be at 6:19. We got 10 hours and 4 minutes of daylight. Jonathan Davis says 5 by 5. Good. With that said, I will jump back up to the top here. So here's how I like to do it. I like to say hello to everybody. And I like to read the comments as I go along. If I miss saying hello to you, or if I miss your comment, do me a favor, leave it again, do it in all caps. If I've already answered it by the time I get to it, I'll just skip over it again. But I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. And I always like to do a little subject for this, for the week kind of deal. And I'm getting a bad case of spring fever. With that said, do you buy your garden plants? So do you buy starts like tomatoes and that kind of stuff for your garden? Or do you start everything from seeds? And what kind of tips do you have when it comes to seed starting? Because, like I said, I've got the spring fever thing going on right now, and the green thumb is starting to work faster and faster every day. So I picked up some of the hex planters, some extra ones, because I'm gonna have a big garden this year. I'm gonna go for it this year. With that said, Destiny, how are you doing today, Destiny Fitzgerald? Seeds starting way ahead of time for the last 4 years. It takes so much longer to sprout with the seeds nowadays. So that would be another question. Who do you get your seeds from? Who do you swear by when it comes to seeds? And I've got the beanie on right now because it is a tad chilly. It's 56 degrees here because Sean was an idiot this morning. Didn't check his propane before he left. And I was out, the picture for the thumbnail here, I was out getting the sunrise in Alaska this morning. I was up and out the door at like 4 o'clock this morning. And then I did laundry. And by the time I got home, it was a tad chilly in here. So that's why the beanie's on. But what do you guys use for seeds? Who's your seed company, your go-to? Again, from Destiny, certain garden plants will buy like tomatoes, leeks, and lately cucumbers. I'd like to grow leeks this year. I really do want to. I want to do something with leeks. I want to kind of embrace the Welsh heritage that I have. Karen, welcome. Glad you could make it today. We hadn't started yet when you jumped in here. Mark Davidson, awesome to see you, my friend. Bought my tomato plants last year. Started my herbs all from seeds. I like doing basil from seeds all the time. Some herbs I won't, just because it's so easy to get a start. But we'll see how many I can start this year, because this year I'm going to do all the herbs that I like to use when I'm cooking. So I use basil. I won't be able to get garlic. I'll get garlic in the garden this year, but I won't be able to harvest till next year because garlic is an overwinter crop up here in Alaska. I think it is everywhere. But I like basil. I like parsley. I like sage. I like some of the. I don't know if I could get sage to grow up here. I think that might be a warm weather herb. But I'm going to try and grow as many things as I can that I use on a regular basis up here. Not necessarily to supplement my food supply due to costs or anything like that, but mainly because it'll be fun to grow it myself and know that everything that I'm using came from my garden. Linda Lipstick Lodge, good to see you. Awesome to have you here today. Sunshine, welcome. Gorgeous sunny day in Kenai today. Just got back from a beautiful walk. Nice. Yeah, it was beautiful over there this morning. I was in town yesterday, running a few errands. We're having a grand reopening of our store this Wednesday because they've been going through a major remodel, and every pair of pants I have are terrible. So, I mean, if we're gonna have all the bigwigs in the store, I told my boss I was gonna go out and buy new pants. So I went over and picked up some new pants yesterday afternoon, and it was like 28 degrees all day. It never got any warmer than 28 yesterday, even in Kenai, which is kind of crazy because normally we have the fluctuations everywhere. But it was 28 in Kenai, it was 28 in Soldotna, it was 28 when I got home, and then I woke up this morning and it was below 0 again. But yeah, it turned out to be a gorgeous day. So much so I had to drop the curtains or the blankets over the windows again because the glare was just way too much. Lipstick Lodge, we're getting tiny sparklings of snow right now. We had snow come in Friday night. So went to bed Friday night. It was nice, windy out, warm, and warm meaning it was in the 30s. And then we were supposed to get like 1 to 3 inches, and they weren't kidding because I woke up on Saturday morning, looked outside, and there was 4 inches of new snow sitting on the deck. I was like, wow, that was quick. Where'd that come from? Mark Destiny or Mark Davidson, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you as always. I think you had a comment back here that I missed, Mark. I got you on that one. Yeah, that's where we went down the herb path. Smiley, Konosatatu lad, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. Leslie Lindsay, welcome. Glad you could make it today. Charles and Annalyn, awesome to have you today. Glad you could be here. Lisa K, hello. How are you doing in Ohio? Warren Foster, it's going fantastic, man. Thank you. I took last weekend off, and I thought I told everybody the week before that I was not going to be live last weekend because I did the Frozen River Festival. And I didn't know what time I was going to get home. I didn't know how late I was going to stay. I rented a hotel room in town because I didn't want to deal with driving after drinking beer. I don't mind if I have a beer after work and then drive home, but I was going to be having a lot more than just one beer. So I rented the hotel room, but apparently some people didn't get the message because I had a lot of comments saying, "You okay? Where you at, man? Everything okay?" But yeah, it was a fun weekend. It was a great weekend. Scott at Hester's Garage, how you doing, my friend? It is awesome to see you. Bradley Barnes, how you doing? Dinner tonight, and we always get on a topic of food, and with gardening, obviously, it's going to be some food talk as well. I was trying to figure out what I was going to get in town because I always try to make a big meal on Sunday, but I have this package of cherrywood bacon. Stick with me here. I'm going to cut that package of cherrywood bacon up, and I'm going to cut that stuff into pieces about that big, right, about that long, and I'm going to bring those to a partial fry in the cast iron skillet. Then I'm going to cook up some red potatoes, and I'm going to douse them with salt, pepper, a little garlic powder, and fresh crushed rosemary, right? The dried rosemary. I'm going to crush it up and throw it on there. And then just about the time that stuff is done, I'm going to take all of that bacon that I've already cooked, and I'm going to throw it in with those potatoes, mix it all up, and it's going to be a lot of bacon. I'm not kidding you. And then I'm going to cover that whole thing with like a 3-blend gourmet shredded cheddar cheese, and that'll be dinner tonight. That just sounded good. That sounded yummy, yummy, yummy. Karen, awesome to see you as always. Jonathan Davis, good to see you, my friend. Good to have you here. Lisa K says, I do my best to start from seed. Gave up on onions. Now I buy the little bulbs, the sets. Okay. I'm going to try the seeds again this year with the onions. I tried them last year, but I knew wasn't going to get the garden in time. This year I'm going to push on it. So in the next week or two, I'll probably be starting seeds. But I want to get them as much in the garden as possible. Started with seeds, and then I want to save seeds if I can too. Ginger Mass, awesome to see you. Indiana was warmer today. Very good. Glad to hear that. Gloria Volpetti, it is awesome to see you. Thank you very much, Gloria. I greatly appreciate that. It's awesome always to see you. We're right about back to where I started from. There's JD. There's Karen saying hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it whenever you hit the like button. It lets YouTube know that the content that you're watching right now is interesting, and it suggests the channel to other people with the more likes that I get. So it just helps me out all the way around, and I greatly appreciate that. Matt, what's happening, brother? Howdy from sunny, warm Utah, 62 degrees. Oh, my gosh. I can't imagine what 62 degrees would feel like. I would be in heaven. I would be in heaven at 62 degrees. I have tea every Sunday when I'm doing this live, and this is cut my daughter got me. Right? It's like father, like daughter. Oh, crap. My youngest daughter, Ashley, got me that. But then I had a viewer send me a whole bag of Twinings tea, and I just closed my eyes and reached in the bag. And this week, it's peppermint. Yummy. I haven't had peppermint tea in a long time. Lisa K once says, Sean, I love the red roof on your cabin. How'd you settle on red? I just wanted something different. I did not want a green roof. There's some green roofs up here, but there's a lot of blue roofs, and I didn't want a blue roof. And when I saw the color red, when I went in to the North Star Metals, which is where I got it, they're up in Sterling. Wonderful, wonderful family. They're Mennonites. When I went in there and saw the color samples that they had, and I saw that red, it just screamed out at me. And I know that in some form or fashion, the outside of the cabin is going to have a wood finish for the siding when it's done. And that red with the wood will be gorgeous, I think, when it's done. So that's how I decided on the red. Marunanda, it is awesome to see you. How are you doing today in Southern California? Very, very glad to have you here. Glad to see you made it through the floods down there. Mike McKinley, what's happening, brother? I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing great. Big Family Expedition, welcome. Glad to have you here today. And Living Free Alaska, glad you can make it today as well. Happy Sunday to you, too. Matt wants to know, am I going to whitewash the rest of the ceiling boards in front of the pantry bathroom? No, I'm going to leave those natural wood. But I'm leaning towards, so I have a bunch of these 12 volt can lights, right? The round lights. So I'm leaning towards maybe putting some of those can lights underneath there just as an accent piece underneath the edge, because it's going to be kind of dark there no matter what happens. No matter what I do, if I don't put some light there, it's going to remain dark. But I want the natural wood there because the natural wood there is going to match the natural wood on the wall. And that's the natural wood that I'm talking about right there. And I kind of got angry today and tore all this out because I didn't like how it was working. I looked at it for months and said I was not happy, and today was the day. You'll see more about that in 2 weeks. But I want to keep that natural wood because that whole wall is natural wood. And my goal with the whitewash in the kitchen was just to keep the, just to brighten the kitchen itself up. Richard Capel Sr., awesome, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you very much for that. Greatly appreciate it. Good. I'm getting some audio videos are good. Audio videos fine. PJs, how are you doing? PJ's Homestead Adventure. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. Thumbs up helps, folks. You have no idea how much the thumbs up helps in the world of YouTube. Everybody's saying hi to everybody else. John Feeney, what's happening, my friend? The grilled asparagus and steak came out great. How can it not? It's grilled asparagus and steak, right? Ah, yummy. I saw your comment today and I went, man, maybe I should have got something for the grill today, but nah, that's all right. Nah, my bacon and potato dinner will be fantastic, I think. Everybody's saying hi. Ginger said, no seeds here. Peanut butter cups. Not so much. How are you today? From balmy Minnesota, 48 degrees and mostly sunny here today. Supposed to get to 59 later this week. I think it's going to be an early spring for everybody this year. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's probably still going to have a little more winter, but when spring comes, it's going to come all at once, and we're not going back, I don't think. I've done both before moving to Alaska. This year I'll purchase from a local small greenhouse grower in Big Lake. Okay, very cool. Very cool. I think I'm going to hit Trinity Greenhouse down here in Soldotna, just outside of Soldotna town proper. They're off of Cay Beach, but I think I'm going to hit them for seeds because they have a bunch of different local seed companies there that they sell and promote. And then they have some of the other stuff too, but they've got some wonderful plants. So I'll probably hit them up for seeds and maybe some plants this year. I tried getting potatoes from a couple different locations the last time I did potatoes, and the best potatoes I've ever gotten are from Trinity Greenhouse because they're all Alaska certified seed potatoes, which makes a huge difference. Charles and Annalyn, start with seeds. Your tip is to hire someone to help us. They're a lot better than I am. Right? Holy smokes. PJ says, we grow our own plants. Sometimes we buy a few plants if we need or want to try something new. Well, that's a good point too, right? If you're not sure if you want to grow something or you want to grow a lot of something, maybe this year you pick up a couple of plants that you find that look like they're interesting. And then if they do well, right, then you can look at seeds and going from scratch next year. Art, what's happening, brother? It's good to see you. On the road, but listening. Awesome, awesome. Can't wait till you get up here, man. Can't wait to have a steak with you, my friend. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic this year. Living Free Alaska hopes to build a greenhouse this year. Last year was dedicated to your chicken coop. I have plans for a greenhouse eventually. That's not going to happen this year. I really want to build a walk-in chicken coop. So that's going to happen for sure for me this year. Plus a lot of finish up stuff on the outside and a lot of adventure in Alaska, because the last couple of years I've been kind of locked in on the property and haven't really been able to get out and do a lot. This year I want to get out and enjoy some of Alaska. That's the reason why I moved here, man, because I love the place so much. I just want to get out and see what I'm missing. My Alaska, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. It is awesome to have you here today. Jess, just the man I'm looking for at Rain Dance Bushcraft. So on Jess's live last Tuesday night, and he goes live every Tuesday night, he and Russell were chatting about the ads that happen in here. And could you manually set up an ad to go off at a certain time? Well, after looking at it today on the YouTube app, and I know this is, a lot of folks are going to say, yeah, what's this? But I promised Jess I would give him an answer on this. I think the only way we could do that, where we could manually plug an ad in, is if we're actually streaming from YouTube. Now, while you guys are all watching this on YouTube, you see that in the corner there, powered by StreamYard? I'm actually on a separate site streaming to my page on YouTube so that I could bring up stuff like this little comment right here, because I don't have the ability to do that with YouTube, and I love to pop up people's comments and show who they are and who I'm talking to. So what I do is I set it up to have a commercial every 30 minutes. So in theory, nobody should get more than one commercial. I'm not counting when you come in, when the live first starts and you join the channel. You might get a commercial right at the beginning, and you might get one right at the end, but you should only get one in the middle, and that's the way that I've set it up to work. But Jess, I don't see any other way around that right now using, StreamYard. May have a garden this year, maybe moving. No, don't move. That's too much of a hassle. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. Lisa K, I got my seeds from Tractor Supply. Just picked up more asparagus roots yesterday. I think I want to play with asparagus this year. I love asparagus. I love asparagus, and I want to see how well I can do with it. I know that Eric and Ariel tried it at their first place, but I don't remember ever seeing anything about the asparagus they grew. So I don't know that it did well there, but it's supposed to grow well up here. So we'll just have to see, because everything in Alaska is kind of a microclimate, right? So you can grow stuff in Homer that you can't grow in the interior, and you can grow stuff in the interior that you can't grow down here. So I think I'm going to pick up some rootings and see if I can't get that to work. The big issue, I think, is the overwintering, killing that asparagus root when it's done. The onion bulbs, they had seed potatoes too. Most of your seeds you have from previous years, squash, zucchini. Nice. I love fresh zucchini out of the garden. Oh, I love it. Sauteed up in a little butter and olive oil, a little bit of garlic. Oh, yum, yum. A little bit of Irish back at me. I love it. Thank you, Smiley. Thank you. Warren. Sunshine bought some Fairy and Morse onion seeds from Freddy's a couple of days back. Yeah, I was in Wally's buying the pants yesterday, and I was looking at their seed selection, but I get nervous buying seeds from Walmart. I do. Fairy Morse are good seeds. I don't have a problem with that, but the ones I saw there, I'm like, I think I'll just go to the local nursery and see what I can find. Oh my gosh, the UK. Well, that's a big move. That is a huge move. And if you guys are wondering what this is Irish right here. This is the Irish language, which I don't speak much of, but I speak a little bit. I understand a little bit more, and I can read just a little bit of. I buy my plants and seeds from the Home Depot or local nurseries. You can get away with that where you're at in California, because I used to do that too. I used to either go to, and actually I would do that at Wally World down there too, because they were all gurneys, right? It seemed like everything was gurneys, or I forget the name of the other company, but they're all grown right there in the California Central Valley. So you know that all the plants that you're going to get will survive in California, which was super awesome. So I used to do that quite a bit down there. I did start tomatoes from seed, and the story's pretty funny. So there is a website. If you're going to ever try tomatoes from seed, I would tell you that this website is awesome, and it's called tomatofest.com. And I found the website. I actually emailed the website, and the owner emailed me back, because I told him I was going to move to Alaska, and I was looking for some cool temperature tomato varieties. And so he's got all these packs of all these different kind of tomatoes that you can grow. Well, I bought 10 varieties, but they were not cool weather ones. They were just for California. So I bought 10 varieties of tomatoes, started all of them from seeds. And when it was done, I had like 90 plants. So I was giving tomato plants to people, but fantastic germination rate, great selection. One of my favorite tomatoes that I got from that guy they were called yellow pear tomatoes. And they're basically just a small cherry tomato, cherry style, but they're yellow, so they're super low acid, and you can eat them like candy all day long. God, they were delicious. They were delicious. Beto, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Scotty at Scotty's Backyard Barbecue. The man has videos coming out that you can't watch without getting extremely hungry. I'm gonna tell you that right now, Scotty. You got to share your channel, because Scotty's been going crazy cooking lately. Eves, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Put the bacon on pizza. I like bacon on pizza. I do like bacon on pizza. Bacon and jalapenos on a pizza, not a bad pizza. The Frozen River Festival next time. We want pictures. Sounds fun. Are there lights, ice sculptures? So no real lights, no ice sculptures. They do a big fireworks show at the end. I have to be careful whenever I do something like that, because there's live music going on, and YouTube's real funny about music in your videos that has a copyright on it. So I found that I can get away with, X amount of seconds of music if it's background music, and it's not part of the video. I'll have to check back. I haven't been dinged, I don't think, on a copyright with that yet. But there was a couple of sections that were pretty long that I just left silent because I don't want to get dinged with the copyright thing. And I understand that the artists that perform the music need to get paid for the music that they perform. Um, but it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. Um, and I'm actually way too busy just enjoying myself and having a good time. So the camera didn't come out that much. The pictures that I did show of it, the beginning was when I got there super, super slow going. And then by the time I got ready to roll out of there and leave, and I did leave early because I was just beat. It was rocking and rolling. It was packed. You could not walk through without bumping into people all the way through. It was crazy how busy it got. Scroll through here and see where everybody's at. MRJ, how are you doing today? I'm staying warm. How did the chickens fare? The chickens doing fantastic. More about them in this next Friday's video. So I did a few things different with the chickens this year. Because the first winter I had such a problem and I actually lost a couple of birds because they went into molt. This year, as I noticed that and it's basically, I guess, a 2-year cycle, it seems like, because the red ones didn't go into molt this year, but the black ones, the black Australorps, they went into molt. So I learned from the previous year when I lost a couple of hens. And so this year when I saw they were going into molt, I started feeding them black oil sunflower seeds to kick up the protein and the fat that they have in them. And then I feed a higher protein feed, and I feed a 20% protein feed in the winter and a 16% protein feed the rest of the year. But when we hit the colder temperatures, I picked up some cracked corn. So corn, when a chicken eats it, will actually raise its internal body temperature. So I gave them cracked corn, every couple of days. I just throw a bunch of cracked corn out there for them to go crazy on. So with the hopes that it would increase their body temperature, between that and the higher protein and higher fat from the black oil sunflower seeds, the hens did fantastic. They feathered out again super quick and super early. A couple of days ago, I got 2 eggs. The next day I got 3 eggs. The next day I got 4 eggs. And then I'm now getting 7 to 8 eggs a day again. So it's just egg production's escalating. I use a deep litter method in the coop, which basically means I do not clean the coop all winter long. Instead, I just keep throwing more straw in there on top of it so that as the chicken poop starts to break down, it kind of generates a little bit of warmth coming up in there and stops the coop from being as cold as it is. And it's worked pretty good. I'm totally green at this. I mean, I've had chickens now for 3 or 4 years, but I still have not figured them out. They drive me insane sometimes. But you'll see more of the chickens on Friday. They're doing fantastic. Scroll through here, but he's saying hi still. Low 80s at 8 a.m. Holy smokes. Ugh, that's way too warm for me. I agree, right? Tea is a good drink. I enjoy it. 55 in Wyoming. Francois McGarry, how are you from Sarasota, Florida? Awesome to have you here today. You just assumed it was straight whiskey. No, I would not be. My face would be a little bit ruddier and red. I always do have a dram, though, on Sunday nights, definitely. Navy Dave, what's happening, my friend? Good to see you. Warm up in Maine this week in the 50s. Nice. Lori Nolan, hello in Nebraska. How are you doing today? Glad you could pop in. Brady G, what's happening? I'm doing fantastic, man. Great to see you. Great to see you. KT, how are you doing? Do you have a community of friends you meet often, or is it mostly work in the cabin? For me, it's mostly work in the cabin. I think of the old Groucho Marx saying that I would never want to belong to a club or organization that would have someone like me as a member. I do a lot of stuff by myself. I always have. So I have 3 brothers. 2 of them are 11 months younger than I am, and they're identical twins. So they pretty much were in their own world when they were kids, when we were all little. So I kind of grew up, even though I had the 2 brothers there, I grew up kind of by myself like an only child and kept myself entertained because those 2 were doing their thing all the time. So, I mean, I have some folks that I hang out with on occasion. Brother Will, him and I will get together. Me, Brother Will, his wife Barb, we'll get together and go camping, do that kind of stuff. But I do a lot of stuff by myself. I've always done that. I've never had a problem doing things on my own. Angie and Beamer checking in. Beamer had to love the weather last week, right? Out there playing ball, driving your arm crazy, I'm sure. Mike McKinley says we had 2 inches of snow in November, and that's the last snow we've had, but very cold in Ontario. Ugh. I can deal with the cold if I've got the snow to go with it, but man, just cold is brutal. It's just brutal. Desi says, Sean, with all the cabin building info and experience I now have, what, if anything, would I have done differently and why? I can honestly say that there's absolutely nothing I would have done differently because I didn't know any better. On the next project that I build, I will have a lot more knowledge. So maybe part of that answer would be I would be prepared more as each project started. And I thought I was pretty prepared when I did this one. I would say, okay, I'm going to do the deck. So now I need to order the wood for the deck, and I'd have it all sitting here, and I'd get it all started. I'm going to do the roof, so now I have to have the metal for the roof. I think that every single thing that I've done in this project, and for those that I've said it often, and I have a video, Man with Zero Experience builds an off-grid cabin in Alaska, and it's by far the best video I've ever released as far as views. It's crazy. I literally had no experience when I started this, right? I had none. I have no experience living off grid. This is the first time when I left California, I left a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home with every convenience you could possibly have. Every air conditioning, central air, central heat, every electronic gizmo, gadget. I mean, it was just incredible. And I went from that to the last 10 years in a trailer, and then the last year in the cabin here. It's been culture shock for me, and I've learned a lot, and I just keep learning. But I think I would stay a lot more focused on. I would worry more about the little stuff in the beginning because it will make the later stuff easier to do, if that makes sense. Because I'm running into issues now when I do stuff of, man, if I would have just done that when I built that wall, it would have been a whole lot easier than having to go back in and cut it open and do it now. If that answers your question, I hope. Excuse me, what's happening? Glad to catch you, man. Glad you could catch the live stream. Very awesome. Bill says, I'm looking at getting the garden area established for 2025 planning. Also need to get animals on the homestead. Animals are fun, man. Chickens are a blast. But they also kind of restrict you to being able to leave it, right? I mean, I could leave for a couple of days and not have a problem. I leave for a week for vacation and go down to California. And Brother Will comes over and takes care of the chickens, or Todd comes over and makes sure that they're okay. But yeah, the more animals you get, the tougher it gets to do anything. Yeah, Angie, exactly. That's what I was saying. Trinity Greenhouse has Alaskan seeds that will work in Alaska, which is what I'm after. Right? Yeah, can't wait to get back out. Alaskans love to play. We love to play. We would play in the summer, the spring, the fall, the winter. But man, if we can get out in the summer, we just have a blast. The problem is that we also have a very short season to get everything done we want to get done. I have a ton of trees I have to cut down this year. I have a chicken coop, bigger run that I need to build. I have a woodshed that I need to build. I have to start getting stuff ready for the bedroom addition that I want to do on the side of the cabin, because I realized afterwards that, I'll be 62 this year, and it's going to be tough to climb up and down that ladder, in another 5 years. So I might as well do it now before I get everything finished. But yeah, we have such a short window to get everything done and a short window to play. So I got to figure out how to balance that better. Jess, I'd love to build a greenhouse just as a buffer against the crazy grocery prices in Canada. They're crazy everywhere, Jess. They're crazy everywhere, man. Although I've seen some of your prices, and I think you might have crazier prices than we do right now. Here's the thing about gardening, right? To see the look on a young child's face, or even a teenager kid's face, when they plant a seed and that plant grows, and then you see them walking home, or they come home from school and they walk up the driveway and they walk straight to the garden before they even say hello to you, and they start stealing tomatoes off the tomato bushes, because my kids did that all the time, and eat them. They grew them. It's just a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful thing to see too. Michael Roos, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you today. From Barefoot Acres, started peppers and tomatoes indoors today. Nice. I don't know what I won't get tomatoes, I don't think, this year. I will eventually get tomatoes, but I don't think I'll get them this year. Depending on how quickly I get the garden set up the way that I want to get it set up. I'm going to try and build a small greenhouse area in my garden. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off. About the ad placements, exactly what I was afraid of. Yeah, I did the 30-minute thing. And I tried to get in there. I told you I would, and it just wouldn't let me today. John says, I buy plants and start some I can't buy. I'm hoping to send a few things this month down, cutting down. Yeah. Exactly. Ward, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Cindy Ray, how are you doing today? Greetings from Nikiski. Very cool. Welcome, Cindy. We got a week of this bad weather. Actually, it's going to get warm again tomorrow. Well, warm by our standards. And then we're going to be cold again by Thursday. But then the long range after that says nothing below 0. So fingers crossed that we're going to hit real spring. Trudy Cron, how are you doing today? Thank you, Trudy. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that kitchen turned out. And to tell you that the only time I've turned all 3 lights on was in the video, because I've never needed all 3 lights since then. And I knew that was going to happen. Because we're getting, like I said, if you look below, we're getting 10 minutes of or 10 hours of daylight plus a day right now. And it's just going to get longer going forward. But I'm telling you right now, everything I'm doing is going to make it that much nicer next winter. I think my goofy neighbors are growing that funny green weed that makes you happy. It's a beautiful plant, man. It's a gorgeous plant. I don't grow it. I have family that has, and it's a gorgeous plant. Rhubarb, yes. I want to try rhubarb. I definitely want to try rhubarb, because strawberry rhubarb pie, yum, yum. Carol L., awesome to see you. Glad you can make it tonight. Look at that. We already have tomatoes, eggplants, onions, and several types of peppers coming in. Eggplant is one of my favorite foods to grow because they're gorgeous when they grow. Right? I used to grow the big black beauties, the big dark purple ones, and there is nothing like eggplant parmesan. I love a good eggplant parmesan. It's delicious. Oh, there we go, talking food again. Sean, if you tried to grow some cabbage, it grows well with bacon, right? A little Kokanen, a little cabbage, bacon, and potatoes. I will grow cabbage this year, for sure. Cabbage is something I will grow this year. Cabbage does extremely well in Alaska. My hope is to grow the cabbage, and I'd like to make my own sauerkraut. I'm going to do it a couple of different ways, but I'd like to try a naturally fermented sauerkraut. So cabbage for sauerkraut that I can, because I love sauerkraut and sausage, like a good garlic sausage and sauerkraut cooked up for dinner. And then obviously, stuff like Kokanen and coleslaw and that kind of stuff. Cabbage is yum, yum. Oh, you're starting some seeds right now. Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably look this week. I'll probably hit Trinity Greenhouse myself later on this week and see what they've got as far as seeds go. Brooke Trout, what's happening, man? Good to see you. A little late from Venice, Florida. My biggest problem I have with our gardens are the stupid rabbits. I got a lot of rabbits. I do have a lot of rabbits, but I have trained attack chickens. So I'm hoping that they'll keep them out. But then that wouldn't work either because the chickens will eat everything. I planted 100 asparagus crowns 6 years ago. Should start harvesting in late April. Nice. That's a lot of asparagus, man. Mary, how are you from Maryland? Good to see you. Michigan Daffodil, seeds from M.I. Gardner, Lowe's, and our Locks Farm Co-op garden store. I did winter sowing for the first time. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I buy plants, but we'll succeed with DIY soon. Nice. M.I. Gardner, I was on his website today, and I'll probably jump back on there and order a few things because Luke's got great stuff. And if you guys if you like to garden and you don't know who M.I. Gardner is, it's on YouTube. M.I. Gardner, just like Michigan Daffodil has typed right there. Great channel, all kinds of wonderful tips on growing, and he sells seeds, which is fantastic. I was actually thinking of getting a coffee plant from him and trying to grow coffee because I can leave it outside all summer long and then just bring it inside and maybe hit it with a light every once in a while in the winter. But it would be nice to have my own coffee tree. PJ says we can't plant in New York State until the end of May. We start planting inside of March. Our asparagus is now in its 3rd year, so we should be able to pick and eat this year. Nice. Yes, you will. Yeah, usually I think it's the 3rd year with asparagus you can selectively harvest. You still have to leave quite a bit of the greens, the ferns coming up for it to establish more crowns and more roots in the future. But asparagus is a neat thing because I've heard that people have found old homesteads, like 50, 70, 100 years old, where they only knew there was a homestead there because they found the asparagus rows that were planted because it was still growing. So it's just a super cool plant, and it's delicious. I love asparagus. Yeah, I thought that was the general rule, was under 10 seconds, so I try to keep it under 10 seconds. Destiny, my cabin is 24 feet by 20 feet. So yeah, so 20 feet on the wide and 24 feet deep. Tony, what's happening, my friend? Good to see you. Try broccoli rabe. I'll give that a shot. I will give that a shot because I love broccoli. I don't think there's a vegetable out there that I won't eat. I like okra. I like them all. Miri, Sean, do I worry about the chicks getting cold feet? I did the first year or two. And my chickens have had frostbite and have lost toes, but they're hardy. They're a tough animal. So one of the things I've done is usually they have a problem when they jump down from the coop, right, to get underneath where I leave their feeder, because I no longer leave their feed inside the coop. I also don't water. I don't give them any water, which will blow your mind. This is the first year I've done that, and this is the healthiest my chickens have ever been, because I got to thinking, what do all the rest of the birds in Alaska do for water? Well, they eat snow, right? So I just really watched them for like 4 or 5 days in a row without any water, because water is a tough thing to maintain here. It just freezes solid. If they don't drink that water right away, then it's going to freeze within a couple of hours. And then when I come home from work, I got to grab it and thaw it out, take it out to them. They've got a couple of hours to drink it, and it's going to freeze again. So what are they doing the rest of the day? Because you don't just drink water. So this year what I did was I said I'm not going to give them any water, and let them eat the snow. And then I watched them for 4 or 5 days to make sure they were healthy, to make sure there was no problems. They are the best looking this year, coming out of this winter. It's the best looking chickens I've ever had. I mean, they're just incredibly healthy. When I do get a warm stretch of weather, I will bring their water jug out. I will fill it up with water and organic apple cider vinegar, right? I'll give them a good shot of organic apple cider vinegar in there and let them go to town on it, but that's a treat. As far as the feet, where this whole conversation started before Sean went north, like I said, where they jump down to get underneath the coop where their feed is, what I've been doing is throwing straw on top of there so that they can land there, they can play around in the straw, and they're not walking around in the snow. They're just on the frozen ground, and it's been much better for them this year. But yeah, they have some frostbite. They're missing some toes, but other than that, they're super healthy. Jump around, super sassy. They're good. They're in great shape. Do my chicken eggs taste different from California or the same? So all eggs taste the same if you buy them in a grocery store. I don't care what anybody tells you. Unless you're buying the organic, cage-free kind of stuff, you'll get a better taste then. Eggs from chickens that you raised yourself, I think, just taste completely 10 times better than regular eggs that you buy in the store. And that's because I feed them a feed that costs more money, that has more stuff in it. I give them stuff that they normally will never get if they're a mass-produced chicken, an egg mass producer. So I get a richer yolk. And the nice thing is, too, that my eggs are unwashed. Every egg that you buy in a grocery store is washed. My eggs are unwashed, so I can actually leave them on the counter. They don't have to be refrigerated. Because they're unwashed. They still have the bloom on the outside of the shell. When you wash an egg, you remove the bloom, so you got to refrigerate it after that. So I think they're better personally. Joseph, what's happening, my friend? You made it. Good to see you. Holy smokes, we got 100 people in here right now. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me. Karen wants to know about the eagles. I saw both of the eagles, actually. I've seen them pretty much every single day, but I can only take so many pictures of the same 2 eagles in the same trees. So if you want, I'll get you some pictures later on this week, Karen, and I'll post them on the community tab so you can see them. But they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. CK, welcome. Glad you could make it today. Esteban, how are you, my friend? Place looking good. Really enjoy your channel. Thank you very much. And hello, everyone from Esteban. I was visiting my grandparents in Vancouver, and eggs omelet tasted amazing and different from here. Again, I don't know. I don't know if they wash their eggs in Canada. They might not. For years, when I was a kid growing up, we never refrigerated eggs. We just left them in the back room because we didn't wash them. But once we started washing them, once you start washing them, you have to keep them refrigerated, and I think that has a great deal to do with how you'll get a different flavored egg. When eggs get old, um, you've got eggs that are not as fresh when you go to crack them into a pan and the yolks all seem to break. That's an egg that's getting pretty old. I never have that issue because my eggs are so fresh it's crazy. On the other side, it's a lot harder to hard boil fresh eggs. They don't like to hard boil, and then when you hard boil them, it's almost impossible to peel them. Anne O'Brien, welcome. How are you from Wexford, Ireland? Doing fantastic. Doing awesome as always. 30 degrees outside in South River, Ontario. Weather's been super nice in North Texas here, working outside and getting things done. We're getting there. We're getting there. We had a lot of snow melt with the warm weather we had for a couple of weeks. The bad part about that is me and Sean's got to wear the cleats again or I'm falling on my butt because there's ice everywhere outside. What you're going to see in this next week's video is me doing a lot of stuff outside because I just was to the point where I was so tired of just working inside that I did some work on the chicken coop with the chickens, got them all cleaned up, got a compost pile started on top of the snow because by the time it melts down, it'll be working. Dug out the fire pit, dug out the solar panel. I got a bunch of different stuff done outside. I miss doing stuff outside. This time of year, it really starts to get to the point where I'm like, be gone. I just want to get out. Okay, you just had one. Let me know if you have another one. I'd be curious to see if you have another one because it's 46 minutes in. So I'd be curious. Let me know if anybody gets more than one advertisement during this whole live. I would greatly appreciate that. I don't know, Mike. I don't want to. I don't want to risk it. That's something I don't want to play with. Okay, the ceiling insulation behind you seems discolored or darker. Do you have any moisture issues? I don't have moisture issues. That is darker because it's not the same as that one. So this was Owens Corning pink fiberglass, R30, and I bought everything that Orange Store, Home Depot, had. And I still had that section left to do. So I had to go to SBS, which is Spenard Builder Supply, and that's the variety that they carried. They didn't carry the pink. They carried this brown material. So that's why it's a darker color. But there was a few issues with moisture. Because I'm burning propane to keep warm. But nothing compared to what I dealt with in the trailer, and much drier. Right now, my humidity inside, upstairs is 38%, downstairs is 42%. And that's very, very doable because of, the fact that I'm burning propane. Where I've had issues is where I have something up against the wall and I don't get any air circulation, and I had ice build up on exterior walls like that. But there's nothing I can do about that. That's going to happen. And all I can do is reduce the humidity to a point where that can't form, and that'll be solved this next winter. I saw that, Tony. Definitely. I'll definitely give it a shot. 41 in Ohio, huh? Nice. Oh, nice, Jess. Found out some of your onions started to sprout today, so you're potting them up, see how they go. Very cool. Yeah, the west coast of the United States has been getting slammed by some crazy storms, man. You guys have been getting slammed. Ward, I'll take it. I'll take the rhubarb plant. You don't want it? I'll get it, man. Eggplant makes you dry. Really? I love parsnips. I absolutely adore parsnips. To me, they're just a sweet white carrot. I love them. Steve Grounds, what's happening? How you doing, my friend? AK Dog Mom, how are you? First time on one of my lives getting seeds started this week in Pennsylvania. Very cool. Well, welcome to the live, and congratulations on the seeds. I did in California, Charles. He's asking, does anyone grow asparagus? I did in California. I had a section of my garden that I called the best foods garden, right? So it was separate from the main garden. Or, for people east of the Mississippi, they'd call it the Hellman's garden, because everything in that garden, when you prepared it, you served it with mayonnaise. I love raw lemons. We had a lemon tree when I was a kid growing up. My mom and dad used to yell at me all the time because I'd go out there and pick the lemons off of that thing and try and eat them all the time when I was a kid. T2D, how are ya? Watching from Alabama. Love the videos. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Bill the Lone Moose, how you doing, my friend? Great to see ya. Have I tried the Italian eggplant? I don't think I have. I've done the Black Beauties, but I don't know that they'll grow up here. I think that's a warmer climate plant. I'm not afraid to try them. But the first year, I just want to get a basic garden established. I'm not going to get too creative till I get down the road, because gardening takes multiple years in a row to get yourself where you want to be. But I've grown the big Black Beauties, and I've grown the Japanese eggplants. Those are yummy. Oh, those are the long, skinny ones. Those are delicious. Josh Dorbit, welcome, my friend. Glad to see you here. Glad you could make it. Sean, well, you've gone deeper on the footings for the cabin or front deck. At what depth does frost heave become worry? So I have no issue with frost heave in the cabin. The only place I have an issue with frost heave is on the deck stairs, right? So the deck is not affected except on the side where obviously because the stairs came up. So what happened there was I poured the concrete pad at the bottom of the stairs. And as the ground froze and rose, the frost heaves, that was right on the top of the ground. So you're going to pick up all the frost heave there. It came up like 6 inches. So that's what's lifted the deck up on both sides. And more so on this side than on this side. So I have a plan to alleviate that this year. I'm really going to be interested to see how far down, though, the concrete drops when the ground thaws back out again. Because I think that it will end up actually lower than it was when it started because of the weight of the concrete itself. So I would basically have to dig down about 3 feet, backfill all of that with sand, and then put that concrete pad back on top again. But I think I have an easier solution for that. What I'm basically going to do is cut the stairs off the end of the deck on both sides. I'm going to mount a piano hinge to the deck, and the other piano hinge, the other side will be mounted to the stairs, so that as the stairs, right, so here's your stairs, so as the ground raises, rather than the stair pushing the whole deck up, the stair will just go like this. And it'll make it inconvenient. You have to be a little more careful walking down the stairs, but I think it'll work out well. The eggs that we buy in the market are not washed. I think it's cheaper for us to buy our eggs than to have chickens. It is, trust me. It's cheaper to buy eggs than it is to have chickens. When my chickens get to the point where they're laying thoroughly again, I won't have to buy any feed until October. They'll pay for their own feed because I sell the eggs locally. Our frost line here, it depends on where you're at. So, 3 feet, I'm well below the frost. It depends on the soil, right? It depends on what you have under the soil, because you don't have to worry about frost heave in sandy soil because it won't hold enough moisture for that. What a frost heave is the moisture in the ground freezes, and as water freezes, it expands, so it causes everything to raise up. So depending on the structure of your soil depends on whether or not you're going to have a big issue with frost heaves. It doesn't really matter how cold it gets. What's your soil like is the big key. Karen, the family's doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Almost Paradise, how are you doing today? A good idea to not have ads is to buy the YouTube membership, especially if you watch it a lot. It's worth it, and you'll not have to talk about annoying ads. This is true. This is true. And if you enjoy anything enough, you should always pay for it, because then you can enjoy it even more. That's why I have Amazon Prime, for the free shipping. In Alaska, that is worth every minute. He lives in the Philippines, Michigan Daffodil, and unlike the United States, most of the world does not wash their eggs. We wash our eggs, but in Europe, they don't wash their eggs, right? So they can leave them out and they do not have to refrigerate them. Only the United States does that. I don't know, Canada might as well, but I know that I've talked to friends of mine in Europe, and I've been in grocery stores in Ireland where the eggs are on the grocery shelf. They're not in a refrigerated case. Moose all over the area. I see moose every single day. Today, when I was filming, and you'll see this in Friday's video. So this morning, I was filming the sunrise off of bridge access, looking across the drawn a total blank on the body of water that comes up to Anchorage. Turning an arm. I guess. No, that's down around the edge. Anyway, across the water from bridge access is Mount Redoubt, our big volcano that we can just, everybody sees up here. And it's an active volcano. So I was recording the sunrise this morning of the sun coming up behind me and lighting up that whole mountain range going down. And a moose started running. I was doing a time lapse. The moose started running. So I paused the time lapse and recorded the moose run across the front of my pickup truck. He was like 50 or 60 yards down the road, or out in the marsh, and he just kept trucking right along there. And then I started the time lapse again. But I see moose every single day. Yes, Destiny, beaver are up here. We've got them in the Kenai River, not far from my house at all. Beaver all over the place up here. Linda Hill, how are you doing? Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate the thumbs up. Man, we are flying through an hour here quickly today. Yes, Google is right. There are a beaver in Alaska. No ball for Beamer. She doesn't have cleats. I don't want to skate in the driveway. Old school Alaska, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Joseph's expected 60 degrees tomorrow. No rain in the forecast. So you're going to the car wash. Yeah, it'll be a month or two more before I go to the car wash. I might go soon, though, because the truck's getting dirty. It's bad dirty. Did I miss ADFJ? There you are. I missed you. What's happening? Good to see you, my friend. Sean, now that you've built a cabin, do you think that most people could accomplish it if they wanted to? Yes. If you really want to do, I'm a firm believer that if you really want to do anything, you can do it. I really believe that. Is it for everyone? Probably not. And definitely not the way that I lived to get to the point where I did this. I've watched videos of families that have lived together in a trailer while they tried to build a house, and I honestly would probably kill my children. I would strangle them in their sleep because they're so small. But the actual building of the cabin, if you study enough and you read enough, and everybody knows somebody who's built something, right? You ask enough questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't think you know it all. It's all that makes all the difference in the world. And then you really apply yourself to do it. That's huge. There were some milestones that I crossed doing this physically that I thought I was not going to be able to make it. And the roof was part of it. Working on that roof, besides the sheer terror of slipping on that thing, the number of times that I slipped on it while I worked on it, the aches and pains that I had, the muscle fatigue that I went through. Now, I'm not a young man, but I'm in pretty decent shape. I'm in better shape now. But if you're willing to do it, it's what's got to be done. You can do it very easily. I believe anybody can. I don't know if you saw the message earlier this week, but to recap, son-in-law will be coming up to spend the entire month of June helping with the build. And yes, okay, cool. Yeah, I did see it, Bill. I did. And 3, if I get a smoker set up in time, brisket. I did see that part too. I went right away when I saw that. Ooh, brisket? No, not unless you consider Brother Will. He's kind of hairy, so he could actually be Sasquatch. He could actually be Sasquatch. Thanks, Ward. Cook Inlet. Ah! Thank you, Ward. The Amish here in Wisconsin say you can store unwashed eggs in a cool place 4 to 6 months. Yes, you can. You can. Or you can even water glass eggs and store them for a year or more in a water and lime solution. Um, and that's super, super easy to do. And they'll taste just as fresh a year afterwards as they did the day you pulled them out of the coop. Raising chickens worth more than their eggs. They're welcome your home. Cluck at you. They do, right? They're neat animals. They're fun to watch too. They're so entertaining. It's crazy. Sure, it's cheaper to buy eggs, but the chickens and ducks are hilarious, right? There we go. Even though they tear up the yard, I let mine loose. The first year I had the reds, I let them loose in the potato bed when it was done, and they just tore it up and dug every bug out of there and just had a blast. Kim Vaders, how are you? Awesome to see you today. I drove my truck to Alaska, drove it around for 8 weeks, then drove it back and didn't wash it a single time. The grime of the truck was legendary. You can tell. You can always tell who lives in town and who doesn't live in town when you're in town in Alaska, because those of us that don't live in town, you look at our trucks and go, "Wow!" And those people who do live in town, you look at their vehicles and you go, "Wow! How much do they spend to keep those things clean?" We're going to go over a little bit here so I can make sure I answer everybody's questions. Oh, how much is a car wash? 15 depends. I go to the laser car wash for my truck, and the median one that I get, which is called the Mud Blaster, it's like 15.50 to drive the car through, and that's the it's not the full service one, right? It's the one where you're driving through, and then the sprayer comes down and sprays everything, sprays the undercarriage, puts an undercoating on, and everything. It cost me, I think, $15. Do it, man. I'm telling you, Matthews Bushcraft, if you dream of doing it, do it. Follow your dreams, because you will never be disappointed if you follow your dreams. I am a firm believer in that. Jess says, we live in my garage. We were having the ground floor of our house redone July to the end of October. Cody was 2 at the time. It was high octane, right? Sand J, how are you? Right? Yeah, watching me work on that roof was something else to me, too. And I still have to go. I don't have to go back on the roof. I just have to. I have to finish the eaves, and I have to run the pipe up for the chimney. But I'm done with being on top of the roof now. I think if I ever have to have anything done on the top of that roof next, I will probably hire some young man to do that job. I don't know that I'll build. I don't know that I'll ever build another place with a pitch roof like I have on this one. I don't know that I'll do that. But I can't say I won't. They're little velociraptors. Go medieval on rodents. Okay, you just got your second ad. Well, we are over an hour, so that could be part of the reason too. All righty. And with Lisa K's comment here, folks, I guess we're just about ready to head out the door. I want to thank you, as always, for watching the videos, for all the constant comments of encouragement that I get from everybody, for your opinions of how everything's working out, for the ideas, because I've gotten some great ideas from viewers as well. And I love hanging out with you guys on the live. I will be live again next Sunday at 3 p.m. Alaska time. I believe that is 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I know it's 4 p.m. Pacific. With that said, you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out of here. I'm going to cook dinner. I'm going to have myself a nice stout with dinner tonight and probably watch a movie. I'll talk to you guys later on. Thanks as always. I'm Sean in Alaska, and have a fantastic week.